So Nollywood actor Uche Jombo recently called out our Nigerian senators on receiving 1.2 million naira as hardship allowance. She went further to ask what exactly is hardship allowance? What does it mean, stating that same should have been invested in Nollywood over its challenges in the film industry. So we're asking you, do you know what a hardship allowance is?
So hardship allowance this is the Human Resources UK. It says an extra amount of money that someone is paid for working in difficult conditions. Hardship allowances are normally calculated as a percentage of the salary, sometimes 30% or more. So it is in areas where it's particularly difficult or unpleasant to live or work. So from where I got this information from, they're talking especially about expatriates who go to places like Africa, Asia, and they're talking of places that they do not have enough health facilities, they do not have security, and then also hardship allowances are paid to people like soldiers who go to tour. They especially mentioned like Afghanistan, especially those who are going over and over again. So now the question is, the question is, do we deserve senators?
So my question therefore is, if you're coming from somewhere as far as, maybe let's just say, maybe Sokoto, and you've never been to Abuja before, and you just happen to be a senator, your people voted for you, you have no clue, you've been hearing about Abuja, and finally you come to Abuja, don't you think that person deserves a hardship allowance because he has never been to Abuja before, doesn't know where to start from, doesn't know where the hospitals are, doesn't know where rent allowance, has no clue. So the question is a question. Don't you think that person deserves a hardship allowance?
Is not easy, in my mind, honestly, in my mind, I was already calling Thunder to come and see something. Thunder should come and hear what Mariah is saying this morning.
No, it's a question now. So don't you think that person deserves a hardship allowance?
Okay, first of all, what is the person coming to do as a lawmaker?
To work.
Let me just add something to help you. So there's a breakdown of these allowances that they're getting. So it talks about the basic allowance, which is over 2-point-something million. The hardship allowance, which is 50% of their basic salary. Then there's a constituency allowance, which is 200, which they will say is not to them. But then there's a furniture allowance, which is 300% of their basic salary. And then there's a newspaper allowance, which is funny, I think is what we should be discussing, which is 50% of basic salary, is about 1.2 million. So let's go. Newspaper allowance.
They have to read the papers all the
Please, we have a phone. We use our paper. We read our papers on our phones.
You are coming as a lawmaker to make laws to help serve your land, to make things better for your people, to make the environment conducive for your people.
At the expense of your own. No, at the expense of your own well-being.
I don't understand. You decided to serve.
Okay.
There's a difference. You decided to serve.
Right.
And when you serve, when you put yourself in position of service, you should render that service from that point of genuinity. That means that you don't put your interests first. As a servant, you don't put your interests first. You put the people's interest first. And that means that you make sure that they are comfortable, they are okay. Whatever it is you are talking about in that your circle is to serve them, which automatically will serve you at the end of the day. But the problem we have is that they put their interests first. You are taking all of these allowance, and the people you are serving cannot be paid 30,000 naira. We are still talking about it since when?
These allowances, according to what I read, that sometimes they do not give them these allowances straight up. So what they do is that they provide them monies for other things. So they make sure hospital bills are being paid for, sort of education, they get like a subsidized rate, other things that they pay. So instead of giving you an amount of money for hardship allowance, you get other allowances. But our senators are getting those allowances as well as hardship allowances. So those allowances would have taken care of whatever hardships you would have encountered.
The benefits are duplicated.
Yes.
I wonder how these senators go to bed at night. How they sleep, knowing what the kind of things that they do. How some people just take these monies and say, okay, maybe just for 4 years, and they sleep well. They actually do. Because, Mariah, you misunderstand hardship when you make the comparison Sokoto to Abuja. The hardship is supposed to be for moving from Abuja to Sokoto. So you're supposed to move from a comfortable terrain to a very tough terrain to earn or deserve the payment of a hardship allowance. These senators already, we are buying them cars to give them the luxury life of our capital city. We are giving them houses that are choice places. For those who have not gotten their residence money yet, the hotels that are lodging, they're paying for them. So they now earn 50% of their basic salary as hardship allowance, take the money and sleep at night, knowing that some people are raising funds on their ex-students group for hospital treatment. Knowing that, you know, some people are trekking. In fact, when I drive and I see people trekking a few distances to get to work, it breaks my heart knowing this is how some people have to live.
Yes, sir.
They see those things. Or is it that you just get into power and you totally lose touch with the realities around you?
You made a good point, Nima. So obviously what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense. But I also don't want us to, because we find it so easy to point fingers, it's always them. But we also need to look within. There are things we do exactly the same thing within our own communities.
No, Murayo. If I look at my own condition of driving to work, and the condition my car has been made to go through by their failure to do the needful and provide basic amenities, I deserve hardship allowance.
Honestly.
4 years counting.
Me too, from that my area.
But they who will fly the distance that I would have to drive to Benin, for instance, they will fly certain distance. They don't deserve these monies.